Morning, everyone. Welcome to Cannabis Chronicles. You're here with DesertGrowthSpurt and Outlaw Grower. Let's get this Sunday morning started right. This big old. Yeah, I'm using this tiny little thing right now still because I haven't had time to go to the store and get a new one after my big one got took by the popos.
Uh-oh. Had a little encounter, huh?
Yeah, it was. I found out it just can't be within reach.
So this is where you had learned those new things, huh?
Yeah, new things. Yep. I learned a few new things that day. They took some of my weed and they took some of my flour. And they took my
Can I ask, like, obviously, with personally, I know some of your history. Was there any, did you have to go with them after? No.
no, yeah, it was that simple. It was just a ordinance, like a local ordinance.
Like a ticket.
Take
You just got a ticket?
Yeah.
No shit. I
Yeah.
mean, that sucks, but man, have we come a long way.
Yes. Yeah, because otherwise, no, that would have went a whole nother way like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, spending the night somewhere else tonight. Like that's oof. Well, I'm glad it worked out the way it did then. That's
Yeah.
I mean it sucks.
And that's how really that's how it should be.
Yeah.
It's like we came a long way years ago from how it was before. Like something simple like that. A person shouldn't be like labeled a criminal for something so simple like that.
For having
And treated.
flowers with them.
Yeah. Simple things like that, and even other things. I can go on and on. Like there's, like a person steals something, and then they go to prison, and then they have to deal with a lot of violence. Well, you think about the punishment for that person stealing.
Yeah.
If your kid stole something, would you want them to be violated violently for it?
Daily.
Yeah, it's sad that's become the punishment.
Yeah.
At least they're working on, some things. They're decriminalizing this at least.
Come baby steps, but now it's no longer life changing. Getting caught.
It's no longer, it's no longer like alcohol was back in prohibition days. It's it's not an outlaw thing.
So speaking of the garden, how are you gals doing?
They are looking really good. Just spending time watering, feeding, and tucking right now. They are on week 7
of veg
and the autos that I stuck in there to start are on like week 2, I think. So they're just tiny things in there, but eventually things will get moved around, and then my mom's setup will start going.
Is she excited? Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I this last Wednesday I officially hit week 4 of flower. And they're getting frosty, man. That OG Kush and Runts mix is by far getting the win. And that's the one I broke. Now maybe it was because of that, maybe it was just the genetics, but she looks good, man. She looks real. She's gonna be heavy and frosty. This is gonna be nice.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
when you put in all the work and you start seeing it come to fruition, it's great.
I'm pumped. So you had mentioned your watering, and I kind of actually wanted to talk about that this morning a little bit.
Yeah.
Different environments, different styles of watering. Personally, I want to go over what I do, go over what you do. And then I got a couple buddies that do some different things. And for me, being in like a drier environment, not necessarily a bad idea. Something I might look into in the near future. So I guess just to start, how do you go about on a normal? I'm not talking about seedlings and tiny stuff, where we're just like spraying it with like a water bottle, but on a normal plant, how do you go about it? Do you hit it with a like sprayer? Do you bucket? Do you, a pail? How do you go about doing it?
Yeah, you know what? I've tried so many different methods, and I had like one of those pump sprayers used for like weed eaters, whatever, and that's good. I actually might, go back to it. It just takes so long to water with it because it's got that sprayer on it. So, I've seen something about like electric sprayers. I'm curious about that too. I actually have one on my dump truck.
Okay.
So anyway, that's I'm drifting off, but right now I am using just like a house plant, spout thingy.
Yeah.
Because I kind of gotta crawl, with the scrog net, I gotta kind of crawl in there, hold because I haven't defoliated underneath the net yet. So it's, and getting underneath the net with it is kind of becoming a problem. So I got to kind of hold the thing above the net and move the stuff out of the way and pour in is kind of how it's going right now. I'm trying to think of some different ways as far as getting, the water into them.
Yeah.
But and then I don't know if that's exactly what you were asking, or if you were asking like how often the water.
Literally, how physically, are you doing it? Because it's, you hear a lot of people are just like, oh, you water these days, you add nutrients, but without physically going through it. And as you see, probably the best way is kind of a pain in the ass. So I've gone back and forth. I used to do just, like what you were saying, your average garden, 1 gallon watering pail. But when the grow is done, you pull out the roots, you can see there's huge like dry pockets where there's no roots, where the water just like moved around it, and then the roots just grew around it. And so it wasn't like saturating the soil all the way. So then, I did the same as you. I moved to the pump sprayer, like, what you would buy at Ace Hardware or whatever. And it takes an eternity. It takes so long.
Those are great for seedlings, I'll say, though, for sure.
So I'll be honest, I use it for all of it, all stages.
Still do right now?
Right now, I'm going into week 5 of flower. I'm still using my pump sprayer, and I'll use it all the way to the end. It's for me personally, that's the only thing I've noticed that will actually saturate the soil top to bottom, all of it. Because you can control where, you spray it real evenly, and that's part of the reason it takes so long. I'm in there making sure it goes down, all of it.
Yeah.
So it for me, in the middle of the autos, when I was watering 8 plants, I mean, it was taking me an hour and a half to water. And at the end there, I'm watering almost like every other day or every third day. So it's a lot of time. So in that, okay, just let me throw something out. At the late stage, okay, so like, let's just say week 5 to finish a flower. Now, I will probably at some point, excuse me, I'll fill up my pump sprayer one time and I'll get the top layer nice and even wet of all the plants and then go through with the pail. Okay. Because at that point, the roots aren't really developing anymore. They're just kind of trying to finish off, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why at like week 5 of flower, like I said, I'll still spray the top layer of soil, you know, that top like inch or two, make sure that's nice and even. And then I'll hit it with that. So if it does get a little wonky, it's still mostly going to soak down evenly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But no, I still like I said, literally up until week 5, maybe week 6, just depending on the strain. If it's a 10 week or an 11 weeker, well, I might still hand spray through week like 6 of flower, and then move to the easier cheating. So I have some friends, and I've always been real skeptical of out here in Arizona doing like anybody that's doing hydroponics because it's so dry out here. It's just naturally pulling it out, and the whole water conservation thing. I've talked about it before. So like I've never really been a fan of doing hydro out here. Out by you would be great because that thing would never evaporate ever. So but I have a buddy out here who invested a lot of money and time into those like the self-watering buckets. So you can still put them in like my Home Depot buckets that I have. I can still use those. And there's like, I'd have to drill different holes, but whatever. There's like a ring that goes in the bottom of the bucket. You fill it with soil, put your plant in, and that ring connects to like the water line, and it naturally from the bottom up so it's almost like using hydro to like bottom feed and bottom water your plants. Because I was real interested in the water usage.
It's just one bucket, then?
I'm sorry, say it again.
It's in one bucket?
No, well, no, he has like
one, I mean, it's not like in a bucket in a bucket.
No, it's not a bucket in a bucket. There's like
just taking water that makes it to the bottom and it's putting it back.
Yeah, it's like making it naturally soak, like wick up to the top. Have you ever looked into like bottom watering, like butt chugging a plant? So there's a lot of people that will water exclusively from the bottom only.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's only photos. You're not doing that with autos, but because it'll like force those roots, real skinny to like shoot real far. But then once they hit it, they start getting real big. So it's, there seems to be a lot of pros to it. But I don't know enough about that to dive into it.
Yeah, I won't even. I'll definitely listen on any sort of topic like that. But hydroponics, I know basics on it. I know how to make a system, with pumps and things like that. I could do that, but I have no clue on how to
maintain it.
The specifics about it, how much this, how much that.
Yeah. And I got one buddy that grows hydro out here, and it's a small setup, but it's, he can grow some really good, amazing flowers because he has full control over everything. But the problem is like, if you have a malfunction of some kind, it can just like devastate and wipe out everything. Like if that water gets stagnant.
I mean, I imagine maybe not instantaneously, but if you're not around,
it's
pretty quickly knowing
there's
about
no buffer. Whereas the soil, you have some microbes to kind of help be that barrier between like real problem, because they'll try and balance out if you screw something up. But growing in hydro and just water added nutrients, there's no buffer. So if it goes south, it goes south real fast.
Yeah.
But if you're good at it, dude, you can grow some like bomb flowers, man.
Which, I mean, yeah, that's something. If I had the time, I would definitely try
Yeah.
for sure. Just maybe a little something at first and go from there. But I don't have the time to try new things. We were talking about, like, you and I were, I know it's going off topic, but you and I were talking about stocks and stuff like that. And I was like, I kind of jumped in and I was like, yeah, I'll check this out. And I was like, sitting around, I'm like, man, I don't have the freaking time to like learn this shit.
Sure.
I mean, I could maybe literally make like $5 off of my little 50. And yeah, like, but to literally like make that 50 turn into something that actually turns into something, it's you have to spend time.
Yeah. You
It's
got to
not,
really
you can't
watch
just go in and be like, hey, here's $50, man, make me rich. So
Right.
it's like, I thought about it. I'm like, I really don't have the time to like invest in something like that. I know that I would, you
Oh, goes up there
think
for a second.
it's over. But like day trading type stuff is like, I don't have the time to learn all that. There's other things I'd rather do with the time right now.
Sure.
But, for those that are good at it and have a little bit of, and some other people are very savvy at that kind of stuff too. Me, I would have to spend some time to learn it. But anyway, the hydroponics is definitely interesting to me. I know I would have to learn quite a bit more before I would try it.
Yeah.
And the bottom feeding, that's definitely interesting.
There's like Garden Talk with Mr. Grow It. Yeah, he's got an episode, and forgive me, I can't remember who it was with, but I just remember he's got one where, it was a gal, a blonde-haired gal. That was the guy. That's all I can remember is that was the guest. But that's like how she feeds all her plants, and dude, they look amazing. So I mean, there's obviously something to it.
I'll say this for myself, that it sounds like, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but it sounds like what I am currently doing it kind of fits in the same concept. I keep my holes about like this far.
How you keep that bottom kind of,
so I don't have any bottom holes, so there's always a little bit of soil there, and obviously unless it's been consumed,
right?
So I mean, if you're bottom feeding, I would imagine it's doing the same thing in a sense. If I give a nice heavy feeding at one point in a with just water, for instance, then there's going to be some that sits down there once it kind of dries out. And when I'm, feeding the top and watering the top, that bottom will allow those roots to go down.
So are you still doing a plain water, or are you adding some like CalMag?
From almost from the beginning, obviously not seedlings, but I do right now in my veg. I'm doing like feed water.
Okay.
And then I'll change it later to like feed water.
For flour?
I have it. I don't know exactly the exact week that I do it, but I have it written down somewhere in my notes.
You don't want to like.
So I don't want to say exactly when and then be incorrect and sound like an idiot. But yeah, I do have it written down somewhere where I start changing up the feed and water pattern. But right now it's just every every other, and then it's not every. Obviously, I don't feed one day, water the next, feed
yeah. When it's ready. Yep.
Yeah. Right now, it's like every 2 to 3 days, I'm putting something in it.
Yeah.
Whether it's water, feed.
Yeah, I like to in the flower stage, I just feed them every time. I'll do varying degrees of it. Like I'll do a heavy one and then I'll do like a 50, like a 50% but just personally me, like flowering stage, like I said, I'll go like when I say heavy, I'll do like whatever nutrient line I'm using, I'll do like 110%. And then the next one I'll do like 50%,
Yeah. Which when I consider whatever they say their normal doses, I consider that to be a heavy dose.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
If they say 1 tablespoon, and in normal circumstances, I'm usually doing half of that.
Yeah.
If I want to do a heavy one, then I'm doing the whole
exactly. And when I'm saying the 110, so like, I'm using like that dropper, because I'm mixing up like a 5-gallon bucket, depending on how full it is, I'm like 5, 6, and like 1 for the Gipper.
You're like very, very specific with it. I get it. You know what? I'm like pouring it in a tablespoon thing, and I'm like, it's about right. I haven't measured the bucket. It's it could be like 2.5 gallons, maybe. Like it's close, whatever. I'm close enough. But I also watch them too, so I know if and it's never like I went crazy.
Oh yeah, just like
I had a little drop or two more than I should have, or maybe a little less, but I know I'm very, very close. And then, I know if I need to make some changes, I'll notice it.
Yeah. So, okay, something I like. You're keeping records. Are you keeping records of your feeds too? Like what you're adding, when you're adding?
Not quite that much. I just right now I'm just like making sure I write down each day that when I'm watering, when I'm feeding, and the weeks that they're in.
Nice, dude. That's fucking really good.
All up in my head for the other stuff, like what I'm adding when I'm adding it. CalMag is, that's something I pretty much use the whole time.
Yeah.
It always needs those things, and I know I have seen some other people say that they're, they use it at different times than others too. So I know that people have differences of opinion on that, but I know that I kind of use it pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, flushing, like specifically like at the end, it's so controversial, man. It's funny because like genuinely where it all came from is from hydro, because you have all that salt buildup on the roots. So you would do like quite a bit of just fresh water there at the end. So that's where like the whole concept, I guess, originated. Don't quote me on that, but that's
it sounds like it was very likely that that's where that originated.
So then the whole idea of like, well, no, you have to do this. So and everybody goes back and forth, on whether it needs it, whether it's good or bad. So the people who don't,
I imagine that if you are like, if you're so knowledgeable in things and all these nutrients and everything so perfect, I imagine you probably could do it in a way to where you're kind of phasing it out and you don't need to do a flush. But for the average person, I would say, just, it's not going to hurt it. I've never seen any time that it's hurt it. So to me, it just gets, it's going to make it taste better, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. That's so. All right. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Okay.
Yeah,
because I go back and forth. All right. So sorry, but kind of what you said right there about like it tastes better. Can you really taste the difference? Now, hold on. So when you go to a restaurant, are you like, this lettuce wasn't flushed before they harvest it? These
I do know
strawberries
what you're saying.
flushed.
So yeah, that's probably all. It could be in
It's
our heads, and
it's
it
all
could.
so, and that's so, and I go back and forth on this a lot, because it's
And I won't disagree with you at all. At all.
no. It's I just, again, playing devil's advocate, because I listen to both sides of it. So it's like I think there's a lot of like what we were talking about, like just kind of placebo style in your head effect type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, because these are flush, like, they taste better, right?
And then all of a sudden a scientist will come out and be like, dude, we did studies on it. It doesn't. And then everybody will be like, oh, you're right. Now suddenly I don't, because it could all be in our heads.
And that, yeah. So, but I don't know. And like, the honest to God truth, I still do it. At the
To
very
me, it's
end.
like this. To me, it's like this. If it's like, what, it's like, okay, maybe it doesn't. But what if it does?
If it ain't broke.
And you're,
right?
Either way, it's like at least if you did it, you're like, well, I know I at least tried to make it, what I think is gonna maybe taste better or get the nutrients out of it, whatever it is you think. Maybe it's in your head, maybe it's not, but at least you did it.
So
it's like washing the weed, in my opinion. Some people will say you don't got to do that, and I'm like, well, I seen the water after I did it.
There is hard evidence for washing. That's a totally different. That is, that is a hill I will die on. If you grow outdoors or in a dusty environment, or if you have pets, you need to be washing that. Like, ew. And the laboratory water, like, you've seen it, man.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, so like,
yes, I guess that wasn't the greatest example there.
No, but all good though. So like I said, I do it too. I mean, my version of it, because I do a lot of like microbe feeding, like adding microbes and then giving them like blackstrap molasses and make sure all the sugars are in there for everybody. So like when I hit like my last like couple weeks, I don't even like aerate the water because I'm trying to kill off the microbes. So instead of worrying, because they're doing a lot of that work, I use a very light line of nutrients. So it's a lot of just the microbes doing their thing. So if I feed them, they feed that. So like the last couple of weeks, I just literally from the tap water them. So like I don't aerate it. I don't get rid of the chlorine, none of it. I just pour it in my head. It's killing off the microbes. Therefore, they're not getting fed, but the plant still has water. So, but again, that's just in my head. It's what works. But does it do anything?
I'll say this for the people that do flush, that I've worked in the agriculture a little bit, doing truck driving, and I've talked a lot with the farmers. I've mentioned in some of our other videos about, for those that want to do the guerrilla growing out in cornfields and such, I've told you when they add nutrients to their fields, and they do it in the spring and then early summer. And then once they harvest, they do something else that does something over the winter. What that means is that the rain throughout the summer and the end of summer and into the fall is slowly flushing some of those nutrients out. Because otherwise they would keep adding nutrients, month after month.
Interesting.
They do it at certain times so that, certain times the nutrients are, at least diluted in the fields. And obviously it's on a massive level, but it still kind of falls into, the same concept a little bit. There is a level of flushing that's going on during that period of time. Which, if you're doing outdoor plants, the same thing is happening. You're gonna, add nutrients during certain times, and then you're gonna let it get flushed out naturally.
But yeah, it's very controversial. Everything we said today is probably wrong. As now, finally, actual
Our
universities.
disclaimer says it. We're like a couple of idiots that know nothing. So
yeah, hey, like I said in the beginning, don't listen to us.
What do you watch?
Right, but you made this decision to come here, so
we try to, just give the information that we have at the moment, and we're definitely always open to learning more.
And that's all I'm about, man. I love what we're getting ready to have another little get together here before Christmas. All the local growers in my community. Yeah, so I'm pretty.
I love that. I think that's so great.
Yeah,
I'd love to get something like that started in my area.
It's nice too, because then so I ran into one of the older people that were there out at the grocery store, and we both were kind of like, "Hey, I'll see you soon, man." It's pretty nice, whole different.
Yeah, so it's like a secret society.
That's what it kind of feels like, which
I know a little bit about secret societies. For anybody out there that knows what an upside down pineapple is, one of the secret societies that I know about. Well, so, I'm a biker, so that's another society. And
whole nother lifestyle right there.
And I'm a trucker, so that's another society. But yeah, I love all my bromies out there. And the gromies, the girls.
Yep. Yeah, the whole community, dude. It's great. It's as long as everyone stays encouraging, because everyone's at different levels of this. And and stay humble.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to be negative about
you
become. If you know something that we don't know or someone else doesn't know, don't be negative. Just say, hey, look, this is what I think. This is what I know. Try it maybe.
All about encouragement. Again, you don't know what's going on. You don't know how far along people are. So when they're excited to show something, say something nice. That's
encourage them.
Yeah, it goes a long way. It goes a long way,
a little encouragement, and then if you've got some positive tips, give them some positive tips.
Absolutely. Oh man. All right. Well, I'm ready to go eat some breakfast.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'll let you close it out.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming with us on this Sunday morning, getting our day started off right. As always, Outlaw Grower, Desert Growth Spurt. And if you guys have any questions or ideas that you want to hear us kind of just, talk about and give our ridiculous 2 cents in, let us know, reach out. But make sure you guys always check us out every Sunday. And I pointed the wrong way. It's actually on this side. But you hit that button.
And we also have And we also have an Instagram page now.
Yes. Yeah. So come check out our Instagram page. Same name. Any underscores? I don't think there's any. It's just Cannabis.
It's just Cannabis Chronicles.
Yeah. So come check that out. We'll have some other little side stuff that we'll be showing off on Instagram. So until next time, thank you guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you next Sunday.